I'm very excited about this next part of the programme because I've been a huge fan of Anaïs Mitchell for a number of years. She is from Vermont in the States, hugely talented. Her songs are filled with phrases and melodies that often pack an emotional punch. She's known on this show for her original songs and also the album of traditional child ballads she made with guitarist Jefferson Hamer. And about 10 years ago, Anaïs wrote a folk opera called Hadestown, her version of the Greek myth Orpheus and Eurydice. And Hadestown became an album in 2010. Then it was staged in New York, and now it's about to open on stage at the National Theatre in London. And we spoke to Anaïs about it recently, and you can hear her here explaining everything after this song from Hadestown album. This is Anaïs Mitchell with Justin Vernon and The Wedding Song.
Song, all the rivers sing along, and they're gonna break their banks for me to lay their gold around my feet. All the fashion in the pan, all the fashion for your hand. The river's gonna give us a wedding band.
Lover, tell me if you're able, who's gonna lay the wedding table? Time's being what they are, dark and getting darker all the time.
Lover, when I sing my song, all the trees gonna sing along and bend their branches down to me, to lay their fruit around my feet. The almond and the apple and the sugar from the maple. The tree's gonna lay the wedding table.
I used to live in a small state called Vermont, and the first version of Hadestown was a DIY theater show, and it was a sort of proto version of the thing, very abstract, but it was theatrical and it was on the stage. And then in 2010, that album came out with the guest singers on it, and for a while I lived with that music just as music, and then I always wanted to see it on stage again, and it was just hard to figure out for a few years who the partners were to make that happen. And then I met a director, Rachel Chavkin, in New York City 5 or 6 years ago, who was doing some work that just really impressed me, and we started to work together, and that has changed the sort of nature of the piece in an amazing and major way.
Hound dog howls and the whistle blows. Train comes a rolling, clickety-clack. Nobody knows where that old train goes. Those who go, they don't come back. Way down, Hadestown, way down under the ground.
So the quick recap of the Greek myth is that Orpheus is this incredible musician, and he goes to the underworld to try to get his love back, Eurydice, through the power of his song. And for me, I think it was the juxtaposition of that character who believes that if he could make something beautiful enough, if he could sing a song beautiful enough, he could change the way things are. He could change the rules of the world. And in this version of the story, Hadestown it certainly has a lot of metaphorical, kind of political implications. It's a land of wealth and security. It's sort of a land of industry, and the rules are the rules in this place, and you can't change the way it is. And so the sort of the entrance into that world of this lover, this artist, this believer, just has always been very kind of electric for me.
Why do we build the wall? My children, why do we build the wall?
Why do we build the wall? We build the wall to keep us free. That's why
children, my children. How does the wall keep us free?
How does the wall keep us free? The wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall. We build the wall to keep us free.
Who do we call the enemy? My children, my children. Who do we call the enemy?
Who do we call the enemy? The enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall. We build the wall to keep us free.
Our leader right now has been and is tapping into some mythological stuff, appealing to people with an image, in this case this image of the wall, that people respond to at a visceral level. And he's not the first person, to talk about that or promise that. Certainly there's been walls for as long as there's been, but it was certainly, that's one of the oldest songs in the show. It's been around since almost the beginning, and I played it a million times, at my own shows, and I've seen it on stage and in the theater show. I never expected it to feel new again, and it sure does now.
What do we have that they should want? My children, my children. What do we have that they should want?
What do we have that they should want? We have a wall to work upon. We have work that they have none, and our work is never done. My children, my children. And the war is never won. The enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free.
That's why we build the wall. We build the wall to keep us free. We build the wall to keep us free.
Yeah. The voice of Greg Brown. What a voice it is too, as Hades alongside Anaïs Mitchell and friends with Why We Build the Wall from the Anaïs album of 2010, Hadestown. A song that has proven to be quite prophetic. There's a new London production of Hadestown which opens at the National Theatre on the 2nd of November. And while we're talking about Greg Brown, I was remembering that Greg Brown is a kind of Americana singer whose daughter is Pieta Brown, who's also very, very good. And we mentioned earlier the track that we played at the beginning of that package, the voice of Justin Vernon. And you're probably thinking, I know that voice, I know that. Yep, it's the voice of Bon Iver, of course, as well. And Anaïs herself is going to perform the concert at the National Theatre in London town on the 28th of October. I wish I lived in London sometimes. You see, there you go. Wonderful things happen. Something new now from an artist.